Noam Chomsky's is a seminal work that bridges the gap between philosophy and linguistics. Published in 1966, it reignited interest in the philosophical underpinnings of language. Chomsky accomplished this by connecting modern linguistic theory with the rationalist tradition of René Descartes. The book is significant for several reasons. It challenged the then dominant behaviorist view of language. It argued for an innate human capacity for language acquisition. This challenged the idea that language was solely a product of environmental conditioning. Chomsky's book sparked a paradigm shift in the field. It continues to stimulate debate and research in linguistics, psychology, and cognitive science. It remains a must-read for anyone interested in the human mind and its remarkable ability to acquire and use language. To understand Chomsky's impact, we must delve into the historical context of rationalist thought. This journey takes us back to the 17th century, a time when the foundations of modern philosophy were being laid by some of the greatest minds in history. Rationalism, championed by thinkers like René Descartes, emphasizes the role of innate reason in acquiring knowledge. Descartes, often called the father of modern philosophy, argued that reason is the primary source of knowledge, rather than sensory experience. Descartes believed in the existence of innate ideas, fundamental principles present in the mind from birth. These ideas, he argued, are not derived from experience, but are inherent in the human mind. Chomsky saw a clear parallel between these innate ideas and the human capacity for language. He proposed that just as we have innate ideas, we also have an innate capacity for language. He argued that our brains are not blank slates at birth. Instead, they come pre-wired with a universal grammar, a set of linguistic principles shared by all humans. Instead, we possess an innate blueprint for language structure. This blueprint, according to Chomsky, is what enables children to learn complex languages rapidly and efficiently. This blueprint, he claimed, allows us to acquire and use language in ways that cannot be explained by experience alone. It suggests that the ability to learn language is hardwired into our brains. By reviving these rationalist ideas, Chomsky revolutionized linguistics and cognitive science. His theories challenged the dominant behaviorist views of the time, which held that language learning was purely a result of environmental factors and conditioning. He offered a powerful counter-argument to the prevailing behaviorist and empiricist views. Chomsky's work laid the groundwork for modern cognitive science, emphasizing the importance of innate structures in the mind. At the heart of Chomsky's Cartesian linguistics lies the concept of universal grammar, UG. This is the idea that all human languages share a common underlying structure. Chomsky argues that this structure is innate, hardwired into our brains. This means we are born with a predisposition to acquire and use language in specific pre-programmed ways. This concept of UG revolutionized linguistics. It provided a theoretical framework for understanding the remarkable similarities across different languages. It also offered a powerful explanation for children's ability to learn language quickly and effortlessly. Chomsky argues that UG provides a set of rules and principles that guide language acquisition. This allows children to deduce the underlying structure of their native language from limited exposure. Chomsky's theory sparked a heated debate about the nature of language acquisition, fundamentally challenging the prevailing views of his time. This debate centers on the age-old question of nature versus nurture, a question that has intrigued scholars for centuries. Behaviorists who were dominant before Chomsky argued that language is learned solely through experience and environmental interaction. They believed that children learn language through imitation, reinforcement and conditioning, much like any other behavior. Chomsky challenged this view, arguing that the complexity and speed of language acquisition cannot be explained by experience alone. He introduced the idea that there must be an inherent structure in the human brain. He proposed that children are born with an innate language faculty, a built-in ability to understand the principles of language. This faculty, he argued, provides them with a set of unconscious rules known as universal grammar, which is common to all human languages. These rules enable them to acquire and use language in ways that go far beyond simple imitation, allowing for creativity and complexity in language use. This nature versus nurture debate continues to this day, with new research and theories constantly emerging. However, Chomsky's emphasis on innate cognitive structures has profoundly impacted the field, shaping modern linguistics and cognitive science in significant ways. Section 5. Beyond imitation, Chomsky's vision of language as creative expression. One of Chomsky's most significant contributions is his emphasis on the creative aspect of language use. He argues that language is not simply a matter of mimicking what we hear. Instead, it is a system that allows us to produce and understand an infinite number of novel sentences. We can express thoughts and ideas that have never been expressed before. This creative aspect of language, Chomsky argues, is evidence of our innate linguistic capacity. It cannot be explained by simple imitation or reinforcement. This emphasis on creativity has had a profound impact on how we understand language. It has spurred research into the cognitive processes underlying language production and comprehension. Section 6. The mind's software, innate structures, and the language faculty. Central to Chomsky's theory is the idea of the language faculty. This faculty, he argues, is a specialized module in the brain dedicated to language processing. He compares it to a complex computational system, a kind of mental software specifically designed for language. This language faculty, according to Chomsky, houses the principles of universal grammar. It provides the necessary structures for acquiring and using language. This idea has been influential in cognitive science, leading to the development of the modularity of mind hypothesis. This hypothesis proposes that the mind is composed of specialized modules. Each module is responsible for a specific cognitive function. Section 7. Cognitive science in the 21st century, re-evaluating Chomsky's paradigm. While Chomsky's ideas have been hugely influential, they have not been without their critics. Recent advances in cognitive science and neuroscience have led some researchers to question certain aspects of his theory. For example, some researchers argue that the concept of universal grammar is too rigid. They suggest that language acquisition may be more flexible and adaptable than Chomsky initially proposed. Others question the strict modularity of the language faculty. They point to evidence suggesting that language processing may be more distributed throughout the brain. These critiques do not diminish the significance of Chomsky's work. They highlight the dynamic nature of scientific inquiry. Section 8. The legacy of Cartesian linguistics, a foundation for future inquiry. Despite ongoing debates, Chomsky's impact on linguistics and cognitive science remains undeniable. His insights into the nature of language, the role of innate structures, and the creative aspect of language use have shaped the field for over half a century. His work has paved the way for countless studies on language acquisition, language processing, and the biological basis of language. Serves as a testament to the enduring power of interdisciplinary inquiry. It reminds us of the deep connections between philosophy, linguistics, and our understanding of the human mind. Section 9. A question for our time, the evolving landscape of language and cognition. As we delve deeper into the complexities of the human brain, we uncover layers of intricacy that were previously unimaginable. The brain, with its billions of neurons and synaptic connections, is a marvel of nature. The relationship between language and thought continues to fascinate and challenge us. This dynamic interplay shapes our perceptions, our interactions, and even our identities. Chomsky's groundbreaking work has provided a foundational framework for this exploration. His theories on universal grammar have sparked debates and further research across multiple disciplines. It has pushed us to ask fundamental questions about the nature of human cognition. What are the limits of our cognitive abilities, and how do they evolve over time? How much of our linguistic ability is innate, hardwired into our brains from birth, and how much is shaped by experience, molded by the environments we grow up in and the cultures we are exposed to? How does language influence the way we think? Does it limit our thoughts, or does it expand our cognitive horizons? These questions remain central to the field of cognitive science. They drive researchers to explore new frontiers and challenge existing paradigms. They will continue to drive research and debate for generations to come. The quest for understanding is a never-ending journey, fueled by curiosity and the desire to know more. Chomsky's legacy lies not in providing definitive answers, but in inspiring us to ask the right questions. His work encourages us to think deeply and critically about the nature of language and mind, but in inspiring us to ask the right questions. The pursuit of knowledge is a collaborative effort, one that spans across generations and cultures. The quest to understand the human capacity for language continues. It is a journey that promises to reveal more about who we are and how we connect with the world around us.